Hi there, welcome to my channel. I just bought this Lion brand Feels Like Bliss yarn at Michael's. It is new to our Michael's. I think it may have been for sale perhaps in the United States at some point, maybe at Joann's, but to our Michael's it's brand new. So to me it's brand new yarn. Soft, soft, soft yarn, and I'm really looking forward to working it up for you, giving you my opinion. So I am going to go overhead with my camera and give you a closer look at this yarn. Okay, so to take a closer look at this yarn, Lion brand Feels Like Bliss. This is a 100% nylon yarn. I've never used a 100% nylon yarn. I don't honestly think I've seen a 100% nylon yarn prior to this. This one happens to be extremely soft. It really is, like the name says, blissfully soft. This one is 100 grams skein or 3.5 ounces, and it has 100 meters or 109 yards. This yarn is considered a bulky 5-weight yarn with a recommended hook size of 9 millimeters, which I was surprised at, but actually it is quite thick. This yarn is machine washable and lay flat to dry. This color that I'm using is Blush Rose, and I don't think my lighting does it justice. It is such a pretty shade of pink. It's a muted pink. I really like it. And this yarn was made in China. If you look closely at this yarn, it is a chain spun yarn. And you can see it at the end here. You can see that the fibers are coming apart, but it looks like it's a nice tight weave in the yarn, and it does have quite a bit of fuzziness to it, so it should be interesting to see how it works up and how it frogs as well, because that's something that's really important to us crocheters, to make sure that if we make a mistake, we're not going to be fighting with it to get it apart. So the first thing is I see the end of yarn on the outside, but I want to see if there is a center pull easily accessible, because I really don't like when, especially a small skein like this has a lot of yarn barf. I would sooner work from the outside than to pull something apart, because I don't have a yarn winder, so I can see it's not that easy to find. I would just as soon push it inside, because this is going to be just a sample and I don't want to pull this all apart at this point. So I think I'm going to take the label off for now and work from the outside. I'm okay with that. So now I'm going to work with the recommended hook size, which is a 9 millimeter. And I will chain up 15 just to see what a small sample would be like. Two, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. So I think from what I see, a 9 hook is probably the right size, because with this there is a loss of stitch definition because there's quite a bit of fuzziness in here. So it probably wouldn't be great for somebody learning how to crochet. I wouldn't recommend it, but it is really soft, and I could see it making something really nice, like a nice fuzzy hat or a nice fuzzy cowl. It would be so nice to have against the skin. So now I need to see how it will work up with the stitches. Will I be able to see my stitches? I'm going to work within the bumps themselves, and I'll start off with a half double crochet. So I'll go into the second bump, and I can barely see them, but let's see how it is to work into that stitch. And usually the first row is always a little more difficult anyways. it's not too bad. It is gliding through my hook really nicely. And if I've used very plasticky yarns with a plastic hook, they just tend to rub. This one isn't really rubbing, it's sliding through quite nicely, so I do like that. Not too difficult to get into the yarn, to get into that chain to make my stitch. It doesn't seem to be sticking too much, so that's really nice. And just doing half double crochets here, it is sliding through my hook quite nicely. It's so soft to work with. And you can see how I like to use my thumbnail to separate the yarn to get in. That's just my thing. Coming up to the end here, looking forward to getting off this first row because, and here I'm having a bit of a difficulty here. I always like to get off that first row and do some serious crocheting. This is kind of like setting it up, and not bad so far. I can see that the fibers are splitting a little bit, but nothing too serious. Okay, so last stitch. This is the first row. It feels pretty stretchy. The thing about nylon, apparently it is stretchy, but also it has some strength to it, and a lot of the natural fibers are combined with nylon to give them strength. So I imagine being 100% nylon, it's probably a very strong yarn. This one has some stretch, so it might be really nice for a cozy cowl. So I'm just going to chain up, and I'm going to go in and work my second row. Not too hard to find the stitches, slides through really nicely. So soft. And like I said, I do think that this is a great hook size, and it'd be interesting to try a smaller hook if you want a tighter stitch. But it might be a little bit tight. But because there is this fuzziness, you don't see large gaps, which is nice. If you want something that looks solid for a winter cowl or a hat, the fuzziness is going to fill in the gaps. So you can see here, it just looks really soft and nice. So another row here. It's really easy to crochet with, I have to say. I'm having no trouble finding my stitches, maybe because I'm using a 9, maybe if I used a smaller hook, it is not going to be as easy to find my stitches. Now I find this yarn at the regular price at Michael's in Canada. $9.99 is pricey. I would probably wait till it goes on sale, but if you love it and you want it, then go for it. Because if you're going to make something really nice, it'll all work out in the end. So that's what it looks like, and I'm happy with the 9. I don't think I would go any smaller. I think it would be too hard to work with, and there's really no need. I'm going to try a double crochet just to see how that looks. And then I'll try a single crochet to see how that looks. And with fuzzy yarn, I don't think you'd be doing any fancy type of stitches because the fuzziness would hide that definition. As you can see, with this type of fuzzy yarn, you don't get to see a lot of stitch definition. It's just really nice fuzziness, softness. So this is just a bit of a bigger stitch. I'm loving it. I want to make myself a cowl with this. I want a hat and a cowl for the winter in this yarn. Because, I mean, look at that. It kind of reminds me of the latte cakes in its consistency. So soft. I just really love that coziness of this yarn. So now I'm going to try a single crochet just to see what that might be like. And I actually might like a single crochet because I would love to have it more solid as opposed to having lots of spaces in it. Especially if it's for the winter, I prefer that type of coziness. It would be interesting to see how this yarn washes up if the fuzzies get messy. But I'm guessing it might be like latte cakes, and that works out well once it's dry. So I think that would be okay. So I'm just going to do one more row of the singles just to see how that looks. And then we're going to do that big test to see how it frogs. Being fuzzy yarn, will it tangle on itself and make it really difficult? You can see that this is sliding through the hook so nicely. No problem whatsoever. It's just lovely to work with. So you can see a little bit of the single, and it really does look good. It takes away the space. There is no need to use a smaller hook with this. You can see that you can't see a lot of stitch definition because of the fuzzies, but really, really pretty. And I would probably do either a half double or a single just to have a more solid look. It's fabulous. Okay. Now the test, the true test. How is it going to frog? Wow. Wow. No problem whatsoever. Absolutely wonderful. Wonderful. So would I recommend this yarn? Yes, I would. I think it's a pleasure. It is so soft. I think that you could make a really nice fuzzy scarf, hat, cowl, baby sweater for yourself. Oh, can you imagine wearing something like this on your skin? Oh, it would be heaven. Absolute heaven. So let me know if you have tried this yarn, because I know it's been around the United States. I believe it was selling at Joann's maybe a year ago. So let me know if you've used this yarn, if you liked it, and what you think. I'm sorry, I'm just winding this up, which is what I like to do, and put it away for future use. I can't wait to make something out of it. I'll just put the label back on. So definitely, if you like soft yarn, this is a wonderful choice. And if you don't mind the price, in Canada it's $9.99. Not sure how much you can get it for in the States. but it is wonderful. Not a lot of yarn, but it is a bulky 5 weight, so you could probably get maybe a hat out of this, maybe 2 for a cowl. I'm not really sure, but it's just 109 yards, so just something little. And that's why I thought for Canadians, $9.99 for one skein is pricey, but definitely I would watch for it to go on sale because I would grab it. I really like latte cakes, and so I really happen to like this yarn as well. I hope that was helpful, and happy crocheting. Please leave your comments below on your thoughts on this Feels Like Bliss Lion Brand yarn, and I will see you again soon.